What do you want to do? Well, sir, I'd like to be a disc jockey. Mr. Brown, if you want to be a disc jockey, you got to be hungry. What do you mean by that, sir? You've got to be willing to do the things that others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. He said you got to work on yourself, develop your mind. You don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are. Always strive to get on top in life because it's the bottom that's overcrowded. You got to be hungry. I said, yes, sir, I'm hungry. I want to be a disc jockey, sir. He said, is that right? I said, yes, sir. He said, start listening to Paul Harvey. Start listening to people who are effective communicators. Be conscious of what you're saying and how you're saying it. Because how you express yourself, once you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are. See yourself as a radio disc jockey. Start working to get sponsorship. Start creating the radio format that you want. Start developing your personality. I said, wait a minute, sir. I said, I want to be a disc jockey. I don't have a job yet. And then he quoted Whitney Young. He said, it's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have an opportunity and not be prepared. You got to be hungry. So I started working to develop myself and developing my communication skills. I expected to have a radio program, so I created my formats. I started learning how to write commercials and do jingles. And then I came to him one day. I said, okay, Mr. Washington. He said, okay, Mr. Brown, remember, you've got to be hungry. You don't have a college degree. You have no journalism. You have no broadcasting. This is a very crowded field. It's very, very competitive, Mr. Brown. You're going to face no and rejection every day. But if you're hungry enough, the world will make a place for you. So I went to apply for a job on Miami Beach to Milton Butterball Smith, the program director. Hello, Mr. Butterball. How are you, sir? My name is Les Brown, sir. I like to be a disc jockey. You have any journalism in your background? No, sir. You have any kind of broadcasting experience? No, sir, but I've been training myself, sir. Let me audition for you. Let me show you how good I am. He said, I'm sorry, we don't have any job for you. I was discouraged. I went back and I told Mr. Washington. I said, Mr. Washington, they said no. He said, don't take it personally. Most people are so negative, they have to say no 7 times before they say yes. He said, you got to be hungry. Go back again. I said, yes, sir. Hello, Mr. Butterball. How are you, sir? My name is Les Brown, sir. I like to be a disc jockey. Weren't you here yesterday? Yes, sir. Didn't I tell you no yesterday? Yes, sir. Then why are you back today? Well, sir, I didn't know whether or not somebody was laid off or somebody was fired, sir. No one was laid off, no one was fired. I came back the next day. Hello, Mr. Butterball, how are you, sir? My name is Les Brown, sir. I like to be a disc jockey. I know what your name is. Weren't you here the last 3 days? Yes, sir. Didn't I tell you no the last 3 days? Yes, sir. Then why are you back today? Well, sir, I didn't know whether or not someone got sick or someone died, sir. No one got sick, no one died, no one was laid off or fired. Now don't you come back here again. I came back the next day talking loud, looking happy, like I was seeing you for the first time. Hello, Mr. Butterball, how are you? He looked at me with rage. He says, go get me some coffee. I said, yes, sir. Sometimes you have to stoop before you conquer. You got to sacrifice before you reign. So I became the errand boy for the disc jockeys. I'll go get their lunch and their dinner, and I'll stand in the control room, and I would not leave until they would ask me to. Then pretty soon, they trusted me to pick up entertainers that came to town. Entertainers like Diana Ross, and the Supremes, and the Four Tops, and Gladys Knight. I used to drive them all over Miami Beach in the disc jockeys' big, long Cadillacs. I didn't have any driver's license, but I was driving like I had some. Then one day, I was at the radio station, and a disc jockey by the name of Rockin' Roger was drinking while he was on the air. He was slurring his words. It was obvious he was so inebriated he couldn't complete his show. And there I was looking at him through the control room window, walking back and forth, young, ready, and hungry. I was saying, drink, rock, drink. Drink, rock. I'd have gone to get him some more if he'd asked me to. Then pretty soon the phone rang. It was the general manager, and I answered the phone. I said, hello? He said, young boy, this is Mr. Klein. I said, I know. He said, Rock can't finish his program. I said, I know. He said, would you call one of the other DJs in? I said, yes, sir. I hung the phone up. I said, now he must think I'm crazy. I called my mama and my girlfriend Cassandra, said, y'all come out on the front porch and turn up the radio. I'm about to come on there. I waited for about 20 minutes and I called him back. I said, Mr. Klein, I can't find nobody. He said, young boy, do you know how to work the controls? I said, yes, sir. He said, go in there and segue the records and don't say nothing here. I said, yes, sir. I couldn't wait to get behind that turntable. I put on a fast record. I said, look out, this is me, LB, Triple P, Les Brown, your platter playing papa. There were none before me and there will be none after me. Therefore, that makes me the one and only. Young and single, love Domingo, certified, bona fide, indubitably qualified to bring you satisfaction and a whole lot of action. Look out, baby, I'm your love man. I was hungry. I was hungry. There are people who come to this country who can't speak the language and they hit the ground running because they're hungry. The people that are hungry are willing to do the things that others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. The people that are hungry are willing to make it okay to fail. They're risk takers. The people that are hungry are willing to reinvent themselves, to develop themselves. They know you don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are. The people that are hungry have goals and practical steps that they engage in day and day out. And here's the second to the last principle. Write this down. Repeat after me. OQP. Only quality people. Yes. I want you to connect with at least 10 men before you leave here. Get their names, addresses, and phone numbers. 10 men who are dreamers. 10 men who want to do something with their lives. 10 men that you can get together and make a covenant. Where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, I will be among you. Get together with 10 men who want to develop themselves, who want to grow, who want more out of life, who see themselves in the future doing better than they have right now. 10 men who've decided that the manpower experience will not just be an emotional catharsis, but they're going to go out and live the message that they've heard preached from this pulpit up here. 10 men who've decided to get serious about their lives, to make a commitment, to commit themselves and their ways and their behaviors and their habits to achieve a better life for themselves, for their families, and the communities and the people that they care about. Attach yourself with 10 men. Why? That gives you hope when there's hope in the future. That gives you power in the present. Let me tell you what happened. Scientists did an experiment with rats, and they dropped them in water and they watched them and they timed it. And these rats swam for about 45 minutes and drowned. And then they put in another group of rats and they watched them, and just before they drowned, they took them out and they let them rest. Then they put in another group of rats, including the ones that had been in before and were saved. And the ones that were put in the second time swam an hour and a half longer than the group that had been put in there for the first time, with the hope and the expectation that they might be saved. Listen to me. The power of assembly, the power of relationships. One goose can fly 75% further in formation with other geese than it can ever fly by themselves. It's important. You find some men here who are serious. Oh, there are people who just came just to see. But there's some men here who are serious, who said, I'm going to change. I'll never be the same again. I want God to use me in a special kind of way. You want to find those men. See, there are 2 types of relationships. There are nourishing relationships and there are toxic relationships. Most people, when you leave here and you face the world and all of your negative, toxic family members and friends, it will knock the wind out of you. That's why you got to have 10 men to stay in your ear, so when you break down, and you're going to break down, when you go back to the fiery furnaces of this world and you'll forget everything you heard here, these men can stand with you. When you have your moments in the Garden of Gethsemane and you need someone to tarry with you, these men will pray with you. When you find yourself getting weak, and losing control, you need someone to get you anchored again. And these 10 men make this the greatest manpower conference ever because of the relationship that you're going to develop with 10 men who share your vision for a better future. Can I get your commitment on that? And let me share something. There's nothing as powerful as a made-up mind. The human will. For Nelson Mandela, you look at your dream and think they're against the odds. A man being incarcerated for 26 years, with every major government in the world supporting his government and his oppression of his people, in prison. Even Joseph's accomplishment is pale in comparison to Nelson Mandela. And to go from prisoner to president, I say there's a Nelson Mandela in everyone here in this room. And he didn't do it by himself. Jesus didn't do it by himself. He had 12 men who shared his vision. The power of the human will